The fullness of time par excellence is the moment of the incarnation of Jesus Christ and His life, especially His passion, death, resurrection, and the sending of the Holy Spirit. As number 2 of Dei Verbum indicates, it is the moment of the fullness of the revelation of God. Why? Because it is the moment in which He totally gives Himself to us in His Son, and we cannot expect a greater giving or greater salvation of God, a greater revelation in the sense of self-giving, because He has given us all that He is. However, the end effects of this salvation, this redemption and self-giving that God has done are yet to be shown. This will be manifested in another moment, which will also be called fullness of time, that is, the last moment. A last moment in which the victory of Christ that came about in His resurrection will extend to the whole universe and then produce what the New Testament indicates as or calls a new heaven and a new earth, where the incorruptibility that Christ's glorified flesh experiences will spread and be participated in by all of creation. First of all, the children of God, the members of His body, the church, will rise again like Christ, and the whole universe will be transformed. It is the moment that creation has been waiting for, as Romans 8 says, with cries and pains of childbirth, longing for the glorious freedom of the children of God to be manifested, in which creation will also participate. In a certain sense, creation was deprived of its original harmony when sin entered into the world, and it desires its restoration. Not only does it desire the restoration of harmony, but also that it might reach its fullness in the end. The role of the woman in the fullness of time referring to the moment of the incarnation, is a role that shines out in a unique and admirable way in the Blessed Virgin Mary, who, with her infinite trust in God and the acceptance of His will, restores, in a way, the distrust lived out in the beginning of the first sin. She collaborates in an admirable way with God, receiving in her womb the eternal Son of the Father, who began to exist, thanks to her, with human nature from a specific moment in time. So her collaboration, on one hand, is decisive and fundamental for the success of God's plan and the fullness of time. God wanted to count on, to need human collaboration, and the yes of a woman, of a mother, to save mankind.
Salvar a los hombres. Sigue contando.
God continues to count on and to want the yes of many other women throughout the history of salvation. Each one of the holy women that the Church presents to us, from Mary until today, collaborates in a wonderful way with God in this plan of salvation. The Virgin Mary's collaboration is not limited to her earthly life. She was assumed into heaven, and from there she continues untiringly to care for her children, bringing about in them a love for Jesus Christ. She continues to do this in a wonderful way, a way that is superior to that of any other woman in the history of salvation. As the book of Revelation says in chapter 12, she is also the woman clothed with the sun. She is the one who conquers Satan in a special way.
este plan de salvación de Dios. Y
The Church, especially Saint Louis Marie Grignon de Montfort,
con firmeza,
has always strongly believed that the role of the woman,
Griñón de Montfort,
with a capital W, who is the Virgin Mary, will be
mayúsculas,
unique and special in this other moment of the fullness of time,
especialísimo,
which is
otro
the final consummation
de los tiempos que será,
and the events that surround the second coming of Christ, the total fullness of the universe with his coming in glory, and the eternal judgment of all created things.
la venida de Cristo gloriosa y el juicio de eternidad sobre toda la creación.